So this is the Lost Platoon, scenario number 7, titled The Lost Platoon. This is from Scottish Corridor, the one of the full games from the Advanced Tobruk system, ATS. This is turn 4, set in and around the village of Gavru, I think, Gavru. I have a British force here that's consolidated. Here they've just moved south out of the village. A couple of German reduced squads are basically chasing them. There's another German force here in the orchard. It is also a reduced squad with a NCO, and they're basically trying to block the British from heading off the edge of the map here. So to review the victory conditions, the British must exit greater than or equal to 3 stacking points along the south edge on between hex rows A to M. So here's A. So it's the whole southern part of the plate area by game end. So just a real quick look what the British have left. They have this wounded but courageous NCO here. They have a Bren armed reduced squad. So I think this would be 3 stacking points. I do think it's by the figures, which is a little rules mechanic I actually like. But I do think this is 2 for the 2 figures here and 3 for the leader figure. I'll double check that when I need to. So we have a reduced squad equipped with a Bren and a wounded but courageous NCO in the orchard there. And then here we have another wounded British NCO, and we have a reduced squad with the 2-inch mortar, which I don't think is going to be much use anymore in this last turn. So this is another 3 stacking points. So the British have to make sure they don't lose or take too many casualties, that they cannot fulfill those victory conditions at all. So that's that. All this rubble that's kind of behind them now, I wanted to review the rules effects of that rubble. So here we have rubble on the train chart, side B. So we have rubble. It is, I think that's blocking terrain. E, I think, is entire hex blocking terrain. +5 is the height. Cover is good. Is that improved? Yeah, I think it's no. Okay, improved, yeah. So it's cover for rubble is good, improved, or masonry, I think, depending on what caused the rubble or what the rubble was before. Personnel pay 2 movement points to enter rubble and no running. That's what the asterisk means. Tracked pay 2 to enter and no cross-country movement. Not sure what the diamond there. Not sure what the diamond there stands for. May not enter, so half-tracked and wheeled may not enter at all. Oh, here it is. Diamond means it requires a roll on immobilization table. Okay. All right. There's a circle under the airburst column, and there's a circle under the hide column. All right. That all makes sense. All right, so let's start the indirect. Oh wait, there really isn't. Well, we'll go ahead and play it, but all right, the Germans roll a 5, 7, British roll a 7 for the indirect fire phase. The only thing there would be is the on-board spotted indirect fire, and I think that's where we determined last time that because of how the British are situated here, it's not going to be practical to use the mortar. All right, so we'll go to the fire and movement phase. We'll roll again. The Germans roll a 1, British roll a 7. The Germans will definitely go first for the fire and movement segment. Players alternate using impulses. Players alternately use impulses to fire and or move some, none, or all of their eligible personnel, guns, and vehicles in any order. Following actions are possible to be performed in any desired order: direct fire and on-map indirect fire, assault movement and assault fire, cross-country movement for vehicles, running movement, crawling movement, and assault fire. One thing I noticed since the last time I played is that I was reviewing again because I wanted to take another look at this Opportunity Overwatch, what's called Opportunity Overwatch. And this is what I came up with the last time I went over it. So this long-ish paragraph on Opportunity Overwatch, 12.7.5. I read this again, reviewed this again. This paragraph, I think, now makes perfect sense. However, I still think that it's very possible that this paragraph actually conflicts with at least a couple other places in the rules. So I'm not sure that this Opportunity Overwatch rule section has been fully integrated into the rest of the rules. But what I read here, I like. So I definitely want to play with Opportunity Overwatch. Okay, so what it says is Opportunity Overwatch allows units that use assault movement to fire using opportunity fire instead of having to use their fire during the use of the movement impulse. Any personnel unit eligible to use assault fire may postpone its fire until later in the same fire movement segment, known as Opportunity Overwatch. Mark such units with a crawled or assault movement marker. Normally, but do not mark them with a fired marker. So marked units eligible for opportunity fire may use it normally, that is, without using a fire impulse, noting the halving effect for assault fire. So basically, a unit uses an assault move or crawling movement, does not use its assault fire during that same movement. Later in that same fire movement segment, it has an opportunity to use opportunity fire. If it chooses to use opportunity fire, it will be at half effect. And a unit eligible for opportunity overwatch fire may use a fire impulse later in the same fire movement segment to conduct assault fire. I'm not sure that sunk in completely the last time I read it, but now it does. And I like this flexibility. So not only is it saying a unit uses crawling or assault movement, does not fire during that impulse, not only may it later use opportunity fire at half firepower or gunfire factors, it may also go ahead and use a fire impulse later in the same fire movement segment to conduct assault fire, which of course would be at half gunfire factors. I like that flexibility. So basically a unit is using a movement impulse. Yeah, a unit may use a movement impulse and later in the same phase use an assault fire impulse. I like that. I'm not sure if that flexibility is too much. Not sure how it. I have no idea what it does to the rest of the rules, but that type of flexibility, I think is great. I like that flexibility. I think the lower the scope you go, the more flexibility you need like this to keep it interesting and to have that verisimilitude. Okay, I like that. So the Germans have the first impulse. What do they want to do? So let's take a question. Can these two half squads, with the benefit of no leader, form a fire group? I'm not sure they want to waste all their gunfire factors in one big volley fire, or so to speak, but still, on the question, can they form a fire group? Fire groups, 1254, let's go 694, 694. 694 says platoon and fire groups. That's night rules. That is for night rules. 1314. 1314. What is the 13 rules section anyways? 13 special troop types. So 1314 leaders. Okay. What does this have to do with? I don't know what that has to do with fire groups. 1254. 1254. 1254. 1254. Fire groups. Two or more units may combine their gunfire factors to attack the same target with small arms fire. That is, HPT is never used in a fire group. Okay. This combination of units is known as a fire group and may be used during opportunity fire as well as during a fire impulse. This would be a fire impulse. A fire group may attack only one location. Okay, that's fine. That's thinking about that location. AFVs may not form fire groups. We don't have AFVs here. Eligibility. All units in a fire group must be in the same location or in adjacent accessible locations. I think these are adjacent accessible locations, right? Because a unit could easily and normally move between them. Okay, we're talking about some nationality things here. Go on to the next section, 12.5.42, multi-hex fire groups. This, of course, would be a multi-hex fire group. A fire group may be made of a maximum of 3 contiguous hexes. These are 2 contiguous hexes. And each hex must contain at least 1 unit that is part of the fire group. Got it. There's no breaks in the group here. Each location containing at least one of the fire group must be adjacent and accessible to at least one other location containing another unit of a fire group. Now, next section, 5.5, 12.5.421. There must be a non-broken, non-surrendered friendly leader in at least one hex of a multi-hex fire group. There we go. So, units, okay, alone. Units alone cannot form a multi-hex fire group. That's what I see here. Let's actually go to 12.5.44, leaders and fire groups. One friendly leader only may apply its leadership, okay, to a fire group attack. Okay, okay. Leader effects. Okay. Oh, okay. I think this first unit should fire on the group there because, yeah. Yeah, we'll try that. So obviously it's 5 gunfire factors, adjacent hex. They are firing up 1 level, but I don't think there are any issues or anything. I think we determined last time orchards don't impart any type of cover. Yeah, just stationary cover. Yeah, so I think that's it. Yep. So this is a fire impulse. 5, I don't think it's any. I don't think there are any. I don't know. I don't remember any adjustments whatsoever. I think it's just a normal. Make sure, check the cover state effects table. No, there aren't any. No leader effects, nothing in between the fire and the target. Yeah. So 5 gunfire factors. Let's make sure real quickly since it's been a week. Where's the little, maybe I'll remember to leave collateral fire this time. Direct fire attack routine, determine the range, it's adjacent, determine gunfire factors, modified. Are they modified by anything? There's nothing for the fire group, there's nothing. Nothing. Determine final column. Roll a die and cross-reference. So on the 4 column, since there is no 5 column, he rolls a 9. That's not going to be anything. So no effect. So that was easy. But the he's marked with a fire marker, and it goes to the British impulse. So now, what can the British do to get off and achieve their? So do they try to fire at the? Oops. They try to fire at the Germans in the way. Well, yeah, they have the Bren. So I think the general idea is they use the Bren to try to suppress the enemy here and maneuver with the trail stack. So we'll go ahead right away. The half squad contributes 4 gunfire factors plus 3 for the Bren. I guess that's go down 1 for carrying the Bren, right? So it's 3 and 3 is 6. We get the NCO bonus, but he doesn't contribute his gunfire factors. So I think that is 6. Again, it's been a week, so carrying. A personnel unit subtracts inherent gunfire factors equal to the SP of carried light and medium weapons. -1 gunfire factors. Okay, there we go. So it is subtract 1 from the British 4 gunfire factors, 4 carrying the brand, so 3 plus 3 is 6. We have, for modifiers, we have, obviously the Germans are in stationary cover state. Again, they're in orchard, doesn't give you anything, there's nothing intervening. So I think it's just +1 for the NCO. NCO directed, 1 right. Yeah, 1 right. So it's 6. 1 right is the 8 column. So the British are hoping for a really good attack here so they can suppress. Not with a 10. Not with a 10. Wow. That right there might mean that the British aren't going to get this. Now they're going to basically, I think they're going to have to basically charge and survive fire. And they have to get off in 1 turn. So could they even do that? Orchard is 1 for personnel. So even if, let's see what's possible here. So even if they ran 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Does that look possible? It kind of does look possible, doesn't it? Personnel movement table. They would have a leader with them. So it's leader, yeah, leader assisted for running. Can the leader run when he's wounded? Can the leader run when he's wounded? 13-1-4. 13-1-4. 13-1-4. Leader movement bonus. Okay, 1 non-wounded leader may provide a 1 movement point bonus. Ooh, they're both wounded, so... so there is no leader bonus at all for the British at this point. Running. We're running 11-3-13. 11-3-13. Are they going to have to leave the leader behind? Winded, exhausted. Strangely enough, I don't see it. Maybe it's under casualties. Casualty effects. A wounded leader may not use running movement. A wounded leader, FO, Commissar, bar gunner, may not use running movement. So they have to leave the leader behind. But if they left the leader behind, then they don't have 3 stacking points. Oh. Does that mean it's basically over? Huh. I think they've just taken too many casualties. So maybe instead of firing and trying to suppress the Germans, they could have maybe just tried charging. We'll see if they can. We'll see if. We'll see if they could have survived making a run for it. Oh, this is interesting. So we have some questions here. So, wounded NCO gets left behind. Right here, we start with the British half squad carrying the 2-inch mortar. Can they? Well, actually, I don't think the light mortar does anything to their movement capability. So there is no point to 1133. I don't think there is any point to leaving it behind. I forgot that it's a light mortar. So pick up and carry. Light weapons may be carried by any personnel unit using crawling, assault, or running movement. Personnel may not use running movement when carrying medium weapons. So that's a light mortar. So it's, I was wondering about dropping it, but they don't have to drop it. So they declare running movement. They declare running movement. And they move 1 here into the orchard. I wonder about the British unit being able to see them up there. I'm going to guess that they cannot. It's a guess, but I'm going to guess they cannot see up over the change in elevation there. However, they of course can see them. The Germans down here, but they're just going to wait till they. They're just going to wait till they move into the open, right? So one. They're not going up elevation. They're going laterally across the kind of the contour line there. So 2. 3, 4, 5. Okay. So the Germans are going to open fire. They get the NCO benefit, but they're on the 5 column. They are running. The target is running. So running is 2 right, 2 right, and another right for the NCO directed. So 3 right. So that's the 4 column. Right 3 is to the 10 column. So let's see what the Germans can get. Oh, they roll a 9. Look at that. So, wow, serious luck. So they would be marked with a fired marker. Obviously, they can continue. There is no extra. They have no other. So they would get off the. Right? There is nothing else to stop them. So they would go. They would go 3, 4, 5, and 6 off the map edge here. Right there. But so they get off the map edge right there, which is only 2 stacking points. Wow, so if the, well, all sorts of things could have happened. If they, I think that's the half squad that started this scenario actually. Is it? Or isn't it? Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I think that is the half squad that started the scenario. So it never was 3 stacking points. But if the NCO hadn't been wounded, yeah, he cannot get there in 1 turn. Huh. And that stack might have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They actually, wow, that stack, if that stack had gotten that opportunity fire roll of 9, that stack would have gotten off the map and would have had 3 would have had 3 stacking points. Interesting. Well, that has been the Lost Platoon. A nice, very good introductory scenario actually. 4 turns, very small number of squads, half squads, a couple leaders on each side, 1 light mortar, 1 Bren. Yeah. Nice. I think it's over. The British, very close, very close. But just don't have quite enough. Oh wow. I also could have, well, no, I guess that would have been a long. Well, I guess I could have tried to, I could have left my courageous NCO who's wounded, left him out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I do think that the courageous NCO here, I could have left him out of the fire group there. I assume I would have lost his combat bonus. I could have fired with that half squad and Bren try to suppress this stack. And if that didn't work, like it didn't work here, I still could have tried to run off. Yeah, I could have tried to run off with the NCO as well. So assuming the NCO and the half squad carrying the mortar got off, that also would have been 3 stacking points. So let's do one more thing and then we're done with this scenario. Double check that I'm doing the stacking points correctly, but I do think it's by figure. I do think it's by figure. Stacking 5.1. 5.1 stacking. Stacking refers to the maximum number of personnel units and or the maximum number of vehicles and heavy weapons allowed in any one location within a hex before overstacking occurs. Overstacking is not forbidden, but results in penalties. I like that. Unit may enter a hex location in excess of stacking points, but penalties for overstacking apply if units in the location are fired upon or a spotting attempt is made against units in the location. Limits. Stacking always applies to each location separately. Stacking limits refer to each side, not the total of the 2 sides. If an emplacement does not list its own special stacking limits, normal stacking limits apply. Okay, personnel units. The stacking limit is 12 stacking points of personnel in a location. Remember that, a dozen. The number of figures depicted on a counter determines its stacking point value. A full-sized squad has 3 figures, so its stacking value is 3. A reduced squad similarly is 2. Crews, 2 SPs. Exception, crews manning heavy weapons do not count towards stacking. Oh, that's interesting to remember. Leaders, bar gunners, commissars, and forward observers are 1 stacking point. So that wounded NCO would be 1 stacking point. Yep, there we go.